Hello, I'm Interweb Studios and today we look at some surprisingly illegal things. Make sure to stick around until the end to hear all these weird laws, including a weird Icelandic naming convention and which position you can passionately hug in. With that, sit back and enjoy. It's illegal to masturbate a butterfly in Missouri. Do what you want with that information. The fascinating thing isn't the laws themselves but how those laws came about. It's due to the butterfly effect. You masturbate one and create a tsunami across the globe. Suddenly all the butterflies are flocking to you for their turn. Their little wings beat the air. Breezes turn into winds. Winds turn into storms. Soon there's tornadoes, hurricanes, tsunamis, and devastation across the earth. At this time next year, it's snowing in Mexico and the Nile River is frozen over. All because someone had to go jack off a butterfly. This is why we have laws, people. In Connecticut, a pickle can't be considered a pickle, nor sold as one, unless it bounces when dropped from the height of 1 foot in the air. This state regulation was the result of devious pickle packers selling substandard pickles that obviously didn't bounce. I feel protected. I'm not in Connecticut. Now I'm worried I've been sold flat pickles and have no way to tell because I ate them already. Those persnickety penny pinching pickle packers purveying their subpar pickled products. But the pervasive pedantics of profits parlayed into pushing subpar pickled products, proves pickles previously perceived palatable, push a pretty penny. Penis. How did this comment get 3.3k upvotes? I understand that dick jokes can be funny, but how? I'm not jealous, just kind of amazed. I mean, keep it simple, stupid. Children selling lemonade without a license. A kid in my neighborhood just made $200 selling lemonade. If I reported him, would he get a fine? Asking for a friend. Also, I'm being 100% sarcastic. Yeah, I had to fact check this one, but yes, in a few states it is illegal for children to sell lemonade without a license. I put a link in the description if you want to check it out. Throughout Alabama, it's illegal for a person to walk down the street with an ice cream cone in their back pocket. Back when most people got around on horseback, horse thieves would put ice cream in their pocket to lure horses away without being charged with stealing. There was an old scam where you and an accomplice would go to a grocery store and tell the shopkeeper that you were trying to resolve a bet about how much molasses would fit in your friend's hat. You'd agree to pay for the molasses and ask the grocer to fill up the hat. Once it was full, you'd quickly pull it down over the shopkeeper's head and loot the store while he was blinded. That was apparently a real thing, so I guess I can believe the ice cream trick. If in Western Australia, possessing more than 50 kilograms of potatoes. Yep, you read that correctly. Potatoes. Repealed in 2021, but yes, it was an amusingly long-lasting law which genuinely prohibited carrying more than 50 kilograms of potatoes unless you were part of the Potato Corporation. The legislation even allowed for your vehicle to be stopped and searched for potatoes. 50 kilograms exactly was fine, but if someone snuck an extra potato in and you exceeded 50 kilograms, God help you. Edit. This legislation was born in 1946, which is before my dad was, so I'm not familiar with why it was passed. I'm also in New South Wales, which is a different state. The board itself was abolished in 2016 and the legislation repealed in 2021. Legislation is in the first link. Wikipedia, of course, has an article about the corporation. Repealed in 2021. Only a dictator would do this in the first place. Police are not required by law to help you. This has been upheld by the Supreme Court. In one particular case, the mother of 2 daughters who had a restraining order on their father called 911 to report that he had abducted them. The police did nothing, and the father killed the 2 little girls. The mother sued the police, and her case was thrown out, because police literally don't have to do anything to help you. They aren't required to protect law-abiding citizens. They are legally required to protect anyone they've arrested or imprisoned. If you're in government, but not school, that's important. Custody, they are in fact forced to protect you. For the curious, the cases were DeShaney v. Winnebago, and Castle Rock v. Gonzalez. In Germany it's legal to break out of prison but not in your prison uniform, because that would be stealing. In Netherlands you are allowed to break out of prison. For example, when you break out in the middle of a 10-year imprisonment. without breaking any additional laws like hurting someone or threatening someone. When they catch you again, and you aren't convicted for additional crimes, you just have to sit out the remainder of what you owe to the state. Leaving prison early isn't a punishable crime on itself. Edit. Breaking stuff like doors or windows is a punishable offense, and doing that during your attempted escape will get you punished. Not necessarily in terms of doing extra time, but result in revoked privileges, maybe a week in isolation. Lesser change of getting out early because of good behavior, which makes sense. Yeah, I believe in many European countries there is a right to freedom. Escaping from prison is merely trying to exercise that human right, so in itself it is not punishable with any extra punishments. Which frankly I'm okay with, at least it insensitivizes people to not break laws while trying to escape. It is illegal to parachute inside St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican after a person did it. They had to create that law specifically for him. He walked away no charge, as the law did not exist. Be right back. Going to set up a bungee jumping rope in St. Peter's Basilica. Cool, maybe I'll see you there while I free dive in their baptism pool. Edit. I think people are mistaking free diving with cliff diving. Free diving just doesn't use any air tanks. In the most southern island of the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, it's illegal to curse publicly. Also, wearing camo in public is against the law too. Some guys I worked with from the States found that out the hard way. In my country, not having at least one bidet installed per home. Edit. Since many keep asking, the country is Italy. A lot of European countries have really old laws that were never repealed, so they look really odd today. For example, in France a woman must first get permission from the police if she wishes to dress like a man, and in the UK it's illegal to wear an outrageous double ruff within 100 yards of the Queen. In Finland, the law from 1734 states that every peasant must plant 40 poles of hop vines every year until there's at least 200 poles per household. If you fail doing so, you get $10 fine. You can't put a donkey in a bathtub in my state. I looked it up, this is in Georgia if you were curious. But, why? Very good question. I guess every ass in your state is dirty. Paying expired parking meters that aren't your spot. I tried looking this up and I believe this is in the US. How dare you be a kind and generous citizen? I take public transit every day. A few months ago, I saw this homeless man on the light rail. This ticket checker came up to him and he very politely and respectfully said he didn't have his fare and he'll get off at the next stop. He mentioned he was trying to get to his mom's house to get some groceries. In my town, most of the homeless are completely drugged out and very freaking rude. It was nice to see a change of pace. Now, it is against the rules to transfer tickets. So to say, if I had an already verified ticket, I couldn't hand it off to him. But I didn't do that. I offered him $2.50 so he can get off and get a ticket. The ticket checker went off on me, saying I'm not allowed to give him money for a ticket. I looked at her and very sternly said, "You are not going to tell me who I can and cannot give money to." He politely and humbly declined the money, said he would feel bad taking it. I still see that ticket checker like once a week and she knows I don't ducking like her. I'm not rude to her, but ducking hell, I'm not the nice, cheery person I am with everyone else. What does she care what you do with your money? Can't oppress the poor if they aren't poor. Alarming the Queen. Section 49 of the Criminal Code of Canada. Sentence of up to 14 years in prison. So if you make a horror movie that has a jump scare, she watches, and jumps, straight to jail? I think my favorite ridiculous Canadian law, until 2018 when the law was removed, was that it was illegal to fraudulently practice witchcraft. I don't recall the section and whatnot, but it was phrased in such a way that it insinuated real witchcraft was okay, just as long as you weren't pretending. Another excellent compromise is in Eswatini, where witches are permitted to fly but not above 150 meters. At that height and above they run the risk of a massive fine by the aviation authority. Well, that's just practical. Nobody wants witches getting sucked into jet engines. Yeah, because that would make the jets witchcraft instead of aircraft. Nuggets. In several states, it's illegal to fish from horseback. Just Google stupid fishing laws. There are lots of them. I have fished from horseback and now I'm curious. Just checked. Yes, I've done it one of those states. Seems the thinking was that poachers would do it and have a quick getaway when the warden showed up. Actually makes some sense. Sleeping in your car. I was quite curious about this one, so I did my research, and there are a few extra clauses to this. In the US, it is illegal to sleep in your car if you are intoxicated or if you are trespassing without permission. Sleeping in your car is not a federal law, but certain cities like San Diego has made it a law to prevent loitering and regulate homelessness. If you want to read about this yourself, I have put my source in the description, but overall, it is not a federal law but a law enforced by a few cities. Alright, back to the video. Ontario has the same rules. Followed by a second law that contradicts that. Slept in my car overnight in the business district of Toronto. I set an alarm on my phone to wake me up before the parking meters started up. When I awoke, there was a PICE officer standing on the sidewalk and he stopped traffic for a second so I could pull out of the space I was sitting in. 10 out of 10 good experience. Where do I start with the Icelandic naming laws? I could go on a long-winded rant, but I'd rather just leave it at this. Your name has to have something Icelandic. Example, John Smith is not allowed. You'd have to change it to John, the Icelandic version of the name John. You could also change your last name to name of father-son. Finally, you could have an Icelandic middle name. Source on this: I was born in Iceland, and the government told my parents I couldn't have my name, so they gave me a middle name. Disclaimer: I have no idea if this is still illegal. These were the rules back in 2003, so it could be wildly different now. Edit: forgot to add, even if you have an English parent, it's still illegal. So if your dad's last name is Smith, you can't have it unless you have an Icelandic first or middle name. In China, it's illegal to reincarnate without the government's permission. I am going to do it anyways. I have a surprisingly legal one. In the UK, it is completely legal to own cannabis seeds. However, put them in some dirt and you are now a criminal. Leads to some amusing situations like shops selling seeds, grow lights, tents, nutrients and soil, but with the disclaimer, for novelty purposes only. I even saw one that had a complete paragraph explaining the growing procedure for cannabis prefixed with the word, "don't." Similarly, magic mushroom spores are also completely legal to own, as long as you don't cultivate them. I ask this because I read today that credit card fees are illegal in many states, including mine, but that doesn't stop many gas stations around me. They get around it by the credit card price being the full price, and the cash price is a discount, and therefore it's not an extra credit card fee. It's a distinction without a difference. Not illegal anymore, but until 2018 it was illegal under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, a special set of laws that apply to US military. It was illegal to have sex in any position other than missionary. Still illegal under the UCMJ as adultery. As a non-American going to the US for the first time, I find it weird you can't be visibly drunk in public without being questioned by an officer. Like, how'd y'all get home after a wee hours? It more so means you can't be causing a disturbance. But what a disturbance means is intentionally vague and left up to each officer. I feel this. I used to live in Franklin, Tennessee. Being an Aussie, after I left the bar at around 2 a.m., I planned to walk home. The bar was maybe 2 miles from my house and I was told I needed to get a lift or it was more likely than not that I'd be locked up for drunk and disorderly. I should point out that I'm in my 30s, not some 18-year-old that's gonna smash mailboxes or something stupid. So my buddy drove me home after a night of drinking. Blows my mind to think about. Alrighty, time for the lightning round, here we go. Here's some odd laws from my state of Pennsylvania. In Ridley Park, you are not allowed to walk backwards while eating peanuts in front of Barnstormers Auditorium while a performance is taking place. It's illegal to sing while in a bathtub. No more than 16 females may live under one roof, as it constitutes a brothel. If you live in Morrisville and you're a woman, you've got to have a permit to wear makeup. It's illegal to sleep on top of a refrigerator outside. If you have a dick and you're in Allentown, don't even think about getting aroused in public. Tell your little buddy to stay down until y'all get home. Fortune telling is illegal. If you've been in a duel, I hope you don't have plans to run for governor, because you won't be able to. Dynamite is not to be used to catch fish. Here's a fun one. Ex-felons aren't allowed to operate a bingo game. In Boise, Idaho, you may not fish from a camel or giraffe's back. Hunting camels is illegal in Arizona. It is illegal to hunt whales in Utah. Ironically, earlier this year, some artist installed a whale statue. It is illegal to walk your pig on a sidewalk in downtown LA. In Utah, it is illegal to not drink milk. I'm not really certain what this means or how they enforce this. In Logan, Utah, women may not swear. Also in Logan, Utah, if a married woman commits a crime in her husband's presence, he is legally responsible. Once again in Utah, it is illegal to cause a catastrophe. With that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and want to help my channel lose its virginity, don't forget to like, subscribe and comment any laws I may missed. Until next time.